As you may have ascertained from my other recent videos, I spent a few weeks again this Christmas in Europe, and this video is why I don't recommend Lufthansa as an airline. When I mentioned that I came back that I'd flown over on Lufthansa, one of my coworkers remarked, "They're still in business?" Which I think is funny because now I would ask the same question myself. So here's how this went down. I made a decision to go with Lufthansa over KLM, the Dutch national airline, because Lufthansa's flight allowed me to arrive in Krakow about an hour and a half earlier during the day, which would give me a little bit more time to do my initial recon of the city before I went to bed on the night that I arrived. This turned out to be irrelevant because the flight I originally booked was canceled by Lufthansa. It took over 2 weeks of me pestering Lufthansa to get them to book me on a new flight. In fact, at one point, when I called in, they showed only a return flight. And I said, what do I need a return flight for if I am currently in Vegas and can't get there? Oh, right. I don't know. It's just this nincompoopery that bothers me so much about customer service agents who can't think through a simple problem. So eventually they rerouted me on a new flight. They had to buy me a ticket on United Airlines and fly me to Chicago, where I got on another flight that went to Poland. This, other than that, went off without much of a hitch. I think our flight was delayed, 20 minutes leaving Chicago, but which was fine because instead of leaving in the afternoon, I had to leave at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I had plenty of time when I arrived in Krakow on the night of my arrival to see the city. In fact, I went to bed, I think, at 8:30 because I was so damn exhausted because I'd been up for like 29 hours by the time I landed because I can't sleep on a plane. So then when time comes to fly back, I leave Berlin to fly to Frankfurt because that's not, stupid at all. There's no international flights from Berlin to Vegas. What the hell? You got to go through Frankfurt? All right. So we land in Frankfurt, and let's see, my flight left Berlin at 7:40 in the morning, and then I sat in the Frankfurt airport for 6 hours waiting for a connecting flight on Discover Eurowings, which is a division of Lufthansa or one of their partners or whatever it is. At one point, let's say we arrived and got a text message upon arrival that we're sorry there's going to be a delay in your flight, which is good because I only had 80 minutes from the time I landed to get to the gate, and we had to go through customs for some reason, even though I flew from Germany to Germany. Whatever. So I had to go through customs, back through security, and then to my airline. Because of a delay, they were giving us €7 on our boarding pass to use to buy food. Now, the problem was in the section of the airport where I was, there were only 2 places that you could buy food. And by the time I got there, the only food that was left that was available for purchase was hummus and Doritos. Oh, no, the Pringles. They don't have Doritos there, but they had Pringles and hummus. Ooh, dalali. And you can't even buy a hummus sandwich for €7. It's $7.45. So they didn't even give us enough money to buy a sandwich in the airport. So I opted to eat nothing and eat from the snackage I had brought with me, which I hadn't eaten on the way over and decided to eat on the way back. Peanuts, almonds, a granola bar, some beef jerky sticks, basically what I would have been able to buy with my €7, which I didn't actually use. After a couple of hours of sitting at the gate, they announced that we're really sorry there was a problem with the plane and we had to switch them. And I've been sitting at the gate for 4 hours. That's the same plane that's been there the whole time I've been here. So they lied to us. I don't think I've ever had as poor of an experience with any airline in America. Canceled flight. I had to do the legwork to get a new flight and pester them to get a new flight. They inconvenienced me by sending me through customs because I flew from Germany to Germany. Stupid. And then the lying about flight delays. So I was 6 hours late getting back here. And it's like, gee, I wish I'd known this. I could have taken you could have put me on a later flight leaving Berlin, and I wouldn't have had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get to the airport. Now, fortunately for me, I left Berlin between the 2 transit strikes, so I didn't have any problems on the train getting from where I was staying to the airport since I took public transportation. I don't understand airlines especially expensive airlines that don't treat their customers like we have brains. They tried to gaslight us. They tried to virtue signal to us. Oh, and then also at the airport. So I show up at the gate in Frankfurt. This is the only time this has ever happened. And they were doing control on the seating area, which I don't know if I like. I kind of like it and I kind of don't like it because I had to show them my passport. She says, "Can I see your passport?" So I held it up. And she's like, "I need to hold it." I said, "Then you should have said that. You're Germans and you know about precision of language. If you only ask to see it. If you want to hold it, ask for that." And the other German woman who was there said, "He's not wrong." um, but I felt harassed and unappreciated as a customer. So I don't think there's any way I will ever fly on Lufthansa again. Which is interesting because as a man I respect who used to fly for Lufthansa, and I wonder if if it was the same back then. If it is, then yes, my coworker's question, they're still in business, is definitely prescient. Anyway, my tip is don't fly on Lufthansa. I really liked KLM. I'm going to give them I flew on them in 2019 when I went to also Frankfurt. I was going to the Black Forest, but I flew to Frankfurt and then rode the train from there. But I'm going to give them another whirl, and we'll see if they can live up to previous expectations. But Lufthansa, not impressed. It's like flying Allegiant in America or Ryanair, but more money. Anyway, those are my thoughts for today. I'll come back with more videos detailing where I went, what I saw, and what I liked as guides for your trips to the countries I visited in future videos. Ciao.